Hey, welcome back to 25 Days to Slay. If you struggle with self-sabotage and you want to up-level in the month of May, stay tuned because this video is for you. Hey, I'm Angela, trauma healer and self-sabotage slayer. I help healers, soul-led coaches, and trauma coaches slay self-sabotage so they can embody freedom, live on their terms, and do business their way. And today we are talking all about how to stop playing small so that you can get more visible. And since I have you here, make sure that you like and subscribe if you feel called to. This just helps me reach so many other people that might be struggling with self-sabotage. I feel like I'm a little bit crooked. Is that better? The camera feels a little bit crooked. I am obviously in a different place than normal. I have felt like I haven't gotten ready for any of these videos for a while, and it's because I'm on the time of month, so the build up to it is kind of hard to get to that space where that's what I want to do. So I decided that I was going to give you guys a new area in my house that I would record from. But I'll be back in action, I'm sure, the next time you see these next group of videos that come up. But I hope that that's cool, and hopefully I'm not that crooked, and hopefully you can see me pretty well. But I know that that's irrelevant. The content is still going to be good. You already know what's up. So we're talking about how to stop playing small and get more visible. And this is huge, obviously, because you're a healer and a soul-led coach or a trauma coach. And in order for you to create a sustainable and thriving business, you have to be visible. You cannot be invisible in a saturated marketplace, because it is saturated. And it does feel like there are a lot of people doing exactly what it is that you're doing, and that can be very intimidating. The thing is that no matter what, and I know that this is super cliche, but no matter what, you are still your business. So you really are the secret sauce. Not everybody is going to have the same story. Not everybody is going to have the same mission and the same passion and the same message and the same story and things like that. So that's why it's important for you to feel safe being seen and heard. I know that a lot of people, especially in the online industry, a lot of gurus and experts want you to believe that it's a mindset problem. The thing is that it's not a mindset problem. It's whether or not you feel safe being seen and heard. And if you do not feel safe being seen and heard, this is how you also know that there are still some underlying trauma that you are working with that's running your programming. And a lot of this actually comes from developmental trauma. And developmental trauma is from the ages of 0 to 7. And it's basically unhealthy conditioning. And in this case, it was probably kids are meant to be seen, not heard. Maybe you weren't allowed to express your emotions, your thoughts. Maybe your parents made it clear that it didn't matter what you thought, or that you didn't have a voice, and so you were better off just flying under the radar so that you could survive your household, depending on your scenario, right? Depending on your circumstances, depending on your environment. So it was easier for you to be small. It was easier for you to not be heard, to not be seen, and never speak up and never ask for anything. And now that you own a business, especially as a healer, and you are sharing your magic with the world and telling people that you can help them and that you can heal them and you can create this better life for them, that puts you in this spotlight where you have to feel very safe being seen and heard, but yet all of this conditioning has been carried with you. And so now, you might feel like you're showing up, but it's a watered down version of you. You might feel like you're showing up consistently, but a part of you knows that you could be showing up bigger and badder and bolder, and you just fully haven't gotten there. And you're probably thinking, well, I've worked on my mindset, I've done these things around my mindset, but it's not necessarily about your mindset. It is about whether or not you feel safe being seen and heard. So how do you know if you feel safe being seen and heard? When you post your content, do you allow yourself to have messy action? Do you allow for spelling errors and maybe missed words? Like, that's my go-to. That is like my thing. Does the picture have to be absolutely perfect? When you show up, do you have to absolutely look perfect? Or is there an excuse of, if I'm not wearing makeup, I'm not showing up. If I don't have my hair done, I'm not showing up. If my lucky dress isn't washed, I'm not showing up. So you want to check in with yourself. Also, how is your content? Do you say the things that you really want to say, or do you say things that you're thinking about, well, what if I trigger someone? What if I offend someone? I don't really want to trigger someone. And so you go into this spiral. Those are signs that you are struggling with being seen and heard, that you don't feel fully safe with being seen and heard. And when you don't feel fully safe being seen and heard, you will play small. You will eventually sabotage, because what will happen is when you do put yourself out there, you'll freak out and overthink and overanalyze and second guess yourself. And then you'll probably go back and delete the post, especially if it's getting certain types of comments that you weren't expecting, or causes some uproar or some arguments, or those things that are causing you to be seen, causing you to be in the spotlight that wasn't allowed in your childhood. So now that you know that it's really about being safe, being seen and heard, and not necessarily about your mindset, how do you shift these things? How do you shift into feeling safe, being seen and heard, so that you can get more visible? Number one, you already know what's up. You've got to heal your trauma, and you've got to unlearn your unhealthy childhood conditioning. This is going to be so critical. You already know this though, but again, if you're struggling with being visible, this is connected to those things. So you want to start really digging at this, and this is what I help my clients with, so that they will feel safe being visible and being seen and heard, so they can say the things that they truly want to say, so that they don't care if they offend or trigger anybody, and they show up as all of them with everything that they have to say. The second thing that you want to do is you want to practice this. I know that healing is going to be like the fundamental piece, and we want it to be the end all be all of this, but it does take some practice. It does take some practice getting really bold and showing who you really are in the online space. And when you first start this, it's not going to feel as good. But the more and more you practice it, the better it's going to be for you, because you are stepping outside of your comfort zone, especially if you've learned all of your life that you need to fly under the radar in order to survive, and now you have to do the complete opposite to have a thriving business. It is going to be uncomfortable at first, and that's okay. You're stepping outside of your comfort zone. You're expanding, you're growing, you're ascending, you're up-leveling, and that's what all of this is truly about. And again, this is something that I help my clients do. I push them to practice showing up in different ways. Even in a previous client, I had her do a live reading in one of my groups, so that it would really help her push forward and get really comfortable in a very safe space. So if you feel like you don't have a safe space to practice that kind of content, head over to my group, and you can do that in my group. I encourage the women in that group to share and share their practices in it and perfect their craft in that group. That's what it's there for. The third thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you are writing, especially for a while, based on inspiration rather than, and I don't want to say rather than strategy, but I want you to write based on inspiration. That way, when you're feeling inspired, you are truly aligned and turned on in that moment. And so you don't have time to overthink and second guess what you're saying. You're just writing and allowing yourself to pour into that message, and then hit post immediately. Don't even go back and look for spelling errors. Who cares? Okay? Who cares? Just hit that post immediately. And then you will start to feel much more confident in what it is that you're saying. And you will notice that it will spark more engagement. You will have more connections, and more people will have their eyes on your post. And so you're really getting visible at this point. But this will help you create from inspiration so that you're not second guessing yourself, and so that you're not overthinking a strategy versus how you feel in the moment, thinking about what it is that your audience needs to hear from you. This will help you get more visible so quickly. If you're struggling with playing small and getting more visible, you probably are also struggling with doubt. And I have a masterclass coming up next week already, 7 days, 7 steps to slay doubt. So make sure you check that out in the description below. Make sure that you head over to the group if you haven't already and join the ladies in there. And I will see you tomorrow. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.